I think the sooner we move past this one, the better. We need to execute at a higher level, without question. Defensively, sloppy night. And you think that's the one area that you do have some control over, and yet we didn't put forth a very good offensive effort, or excuse me, defensive effort here tonight. You know, once again, you know, spotting the opponent a number of runs to get behind early. Felix was erratic with his command. We contributed with some plays defensively to extend a couple of those innings. And like I said, the sooner we move past this one, the better. Sean?
John, in the two losses in this series, you combined to allow 10 unearned runs. Is any of that effort or lack thereof, and how do you explain how one of the most defensive efficient teams last year has had such difficulty here in the first month?
No, I wouldn't say it's effort related whatsoever. You know, there's ability here. The effort is there. Their work ethic is consistent, and yet an error has not only extended innings, but then where typically a pitching staff or individual pitcher can pick up a defensive player, that hasn't happened, and it's led to some situations where we've got behind early in the game.
Obviously, he wasn't helped by his defense, but how do you assess Dubron going forward in a situation like that?
Well, as we've seen a number of times, by the time he gets into the flow of the game and the rhythm of the game, it's been a couple of innings. That's not necessarily uncommon for a pitcher. But on a night against a very good offense, when you give extra outs, we're asking for trouble, and that's the case.
John, on those stolen bases, Felix didn't seem to be paying any attention to the runners. What do you account with for that?
That's to me that kind of shows that the game sped up on him a little bit in that situation. And anytime you see that being exploited, there's focus being given to execute a pitch solely, and the awareness of controlling the running game gets left behind a little bit, and they were able to exploit that.
You just said that you didn't have any problem with your team's effort. The level of play this season has been varying almost game to game sometimes. Where do you see that coming from?
Pete, I wouldn't suggest, you know, defensive errors. They're going to happen. They're more physical in nature rather than mental, where you'd say that might. While we've had some mental errors, I wouldn't say that the shortcomings that we've shown have been effort related. You could make a case that on a given night we've either pitched well and not swung the bat, or we've failed to execute defensively. That has contributed to some of the outcomes. And I think the one overriding thing is that overall we can perform and execute at a higher level. It's just to say in past years and situations or stretches of games where you see it like this, it has to come from the starting rotation to set the tone.